Hi, my name's Alexis Lee, and I'm going to be talking about American culture, specifically diabetes in America. I picked this topic because this topic hit home to me. I have a lot of family members who currently have diabetes and they're struggling with it. Below, you can clearly see that someone's checking their blood to check their glucose levels, which is a byproduct of diabetes. In America, there's an alarming amount of junk food being consumed by us per day. An average American consumes 4.8 junk food items per day. Diabetes is very common in America because of this. The amount of junk food being sold to us Americans affects the health of future generations and will only worsen with time. With the amount of fast food and junk food being sold every day, the risk of diabetes in young adults and even children will jump substantially. Between 1990 and 2010, the number of people living with diabetes in the US tripled, and the number of cases have increased each year since. You may be asking yourself, what's diabetes? Well, diabetes is a long-lasting health condition that affects how your body turns food into energy. Diabetes is typically found in Americans, such as African Americans, Indian Americans, Asian Americans, Hispanic Latinos, and Pacific Islanders. There are three types of diabetes. Type 1 and type 2 diabetes are treatable but not curable. And type 3 diabetes, although it is not considered as an official form of diabetes, can lead to Alzheimer's disease. What's Alzheimer's disease? Well, Alzheimer's disease is a disease that affects your memory and other important mental functions. Actually, it destroys your memory. You're most likely to get Alzheimer's disease past the age 65, but it's getting younger and younger. The main reason why Americans are more likely to get diabetes and Alzheimer's is because of the food surrounding us. The stigma attached to America isn't far off. There's a correlation between diabetes and people who live in the US. That's why so many colored Americans get diabetes because of the food choices within the cultures and the generational pass down of high blood pressure. The choices in food that are typical in America would be junk food such as cookies, donuts, cupcakes, chocolate, chips, Pop-Tarts, anything. The amount of fast food and junk food being sold every day increases the risk of young adults and children. That means more Americans will develop Alzheimer's sooner and sooner. And there's mutations of genes called APP, PSEN1, and PSEN2 that will be passed down generation after generation. You may be asking yourself, what's the difference between junk food and healthy food? Well, junk food is food that contains high levels of fats, salts, sugars, and lacks certain nutrients such as fibers, vitamins, and minerals. Healthy food provides your body with essential nutrition like fluids, macronutrients such as proteins, vitamins, fiber, and food energy. Therefore, healthy foods make you feel a lot better than when you eat junk food. When eating junk food, you're likely to feel slumped and unmotivated to do anything physical. That's why it's so easy to gain weight in America and not take your health so seriously. There's a study done by Allison Aubrey and Maria Godoy. 75% of Americans say they eat healthy despite evidence to the contrary. On NPR.org, 80% of Americans fail to eat the recommended amounts of fruits and vegetables, although they may claim to. They actually tend to overeat refined grains and sugars. In the article, it is also mentioned that we eat 2 more large snacks a day compared to 25 years ago, says Barry Popkin. According to the medical doctor, Dr. Jasmine, of the article, Why is Diabetes Increasing in the United States, from medicinenut.com, obesity is one of the most important factors that increase your risk of diabetes, and so is lack of physical activity. Therefore, to prevent diabetes and especially avoid it while being in the US, you should stay away from unhealthy foods with high sugars and exercise at least 3 times a week. My first possible solution that could help fight the spread of diabetes cases in America would be to limit the amount of fast food in local areas. For instance, spreading out fast food chains so that there's not that many close together. This would deter people from overeating fast food all the time when they're walking around the mall. They won't see as many fast food places and they won't be inclined to stop and have some. My second possible solution would be to switch the prices of junk foods and healthy foods. Usually when you're at the store, you notice that healthier foods are a little more expensive than junk foods. Personally, I don't think it would affect the amount of money coming into the US if you switch the prices because people would still buy junk food. If anything, it would bring more money into the US because people buy junk food a lot more than healthy food. I believe after a while, Americans would lean towards healthier foods because it would save them money. Um, Everyday children view on average 15 food advertisements, and 98% of these ads promote products high in fats, sugars, sodium. On average, children consume 45% more when exposed to food advertising. Adults consume more of both healthy and unhealthy snack foods when exposed to food advertising, leading me to my third solution. The advertisements, marketing, and salesmanships of junk food just worsens the cravings, and since all junk food has processed sugar in it, it is hard to resist once consumed. So I think that my final solution would be to limit the amount of advertisements for junk food to the public. Advertisements are meant to be persuasive, so if they are limited, it would be less likely that consumers would eat out as often. Any questions?